So I'm gonna give you a little insight into our work. I'm the team lead of the fact-checking team at CORRECTIV right now. We are, right now, I guess we are 10 journalists in the team. So I'm gonna share my slides and just tell you a little bit about our work, and afterwards I'm happy to discuss with you. Give me a second. Yeah, as Konstantin Schreiber said before, we are part of CORRECTIV. Oh, sorry. No, we have it. Yeah. We are like an editorial unit at CORRECTIV. Like CORRECTIV in its whole is a non-profit independent newsroom. We also write books, and we do a lot about media literacy, and we have an investigative journalism team and the fact-checking team, which is consisting of 10 journalists right now. And like our main work is doing fact-checking articles on disinformation that is spreading somewhere on social media. And since some month, or I think maybe a year now, we bi-weekly publish also some of our fact checks as videos on YouTube and Instagram, as you can see over here. And yeah, like, because it's not always a thing of something being wrong or false. We have like a rating scale with 11 different ratings, which starts from something is correct to partially incorrect or to freely invented or false. And yeah, that's what we use to rate our fact-checking articles and the claims we check. And what we check is like rumors and factual claims in the form of pictures, videos, and text that are spread somewhere on social media. So that means everything that is spread on all of the social media platforms, but also stuff that maybe comes from an article from a website that is also spread on social media. And as Professor Hoffmann already said, like, it's really important also for us to decide which topics we do and which one we won't do, because we always also discuss in our meetings, okay, do we just give this topic more attention when we're doing a fact-checking article on it, or is it really important from our point of view to do a fact check on that? So we have like three most important criteria to decide what to do. So one is virality, and the other one, is it a really relevant topic, or is it connected to a current news situation, or is there any potential damage for individuals, minorities, or someone else? Yeah, that's why we also do not check just articles or texts that just have mistakes or satire, opinions, or future forecasts. But sometimes it's also difficult when we look at articles on blog websites, which normally are really long, and they also contain opinion, but they also do have claims we can check in it. So sometimes we also do that, but we just kind of ignore the opinion around it and concentrate on the facts to check them. Yeah, of course, like disinformation is from our side something that is written and distributed to intentionally fool and wants to mislead people. And what we see is that a lot of it is politically motivated to support interests of movements, groups, organizations, or parties, or economically motivated in order to earn money. For example, if someone spreading a disinformation is getting money from advertisements at the beginning of the YouTube videos, or a lot of the spreaders of disinformation that we see do a lot of calls for donations for their work. So we always see again and again the same topics of disinformation. So it's always stuff around migration, climate change, stuff connected to current news situations, health issues, even, of course, before the corona pandemic, quotes from politicians or other well-known persons. And since the last 3 years, there is, of course, a lot on the corona pandemic and the war in Ukraine. Yeah, and maybe just to give you a little insight how we work, how our daily business does look like. So at the beginning, in the morning, all of us do social media monitoring. That means we monitor social networks every day to find potential disinformation. We organize it in that way that everyone in the team has a different network to monitor. And for some, we have just built our own lists and channels to have a look at, for example, concerning Twitter, Telegram, or TikTok. And for others, we use tools that are provided, like CrowdTangle or Newsfeed, which we can use for Facebook. And another thing is that we also asked readers to send us potential disinformation. So we get also indications from that and look through it. So one of it is that we have a WhatsApp chatbot where you can send us potential false claims, and also get a newsletter and other stuff. And we have an online form, which you see on the left side, where you can also send us potential false claims that we check. So yeah, and then we have a meeting every morning. We discuss about a topic, if we feel that they are relevant enough, that they're viral enough, and that they are checkable, and that it's a good thing to check them because we feel it's important. And then we have a Trello board, which you can see over here. And every one of the team is allowed to just pick one of the topics they want to start a research on. But of course, we have a head of services. She decides which of the topics has preference. And then some of the disinformation is really like a fact-checking article on that is really done really quickly. For example, if there is a picture in a wrong context thread on Facebook, but others are quite complex. A lot of it we saw during the corona pandemic was really even more complex, of course. So sometimes it just takes a day to do a fact-checking article, and sometimes it takes a week or even more. And when the fact-checking journalists of our team finish the research, we have 2 editing loops. So that means 2 other fact checkers do the editing. So one of them in the first loop is, of course, also doing a fact check of our own work, and checks if everything is comprehensible for our readers, and provides full transparency of all our research ways. So it's sometimes not the best to read the articles, but it's most important for us that everyone can follow the research. And then in a second loop, another person of our team is reading the article again before we publish it. Yeah, and coming back to where disinformation spreads and why we are having a look especially on social media, comes back to our corporations and the networks we are part of. So it was Facebook that first decided to do something to fight disinformation on their platform, because I think, as we all know, like, social networks are a place where the spread of disinformation can grow really fast and spread fast, and where, like we all know it, like algorithms take people to different corners of the internet. For example, I always tell the story that when I open my Instagram feed, I just see a lot of videos about dogs and cats, which is not really a problem. But if the algorithm takes you down to the rabbit hole of disinformation, this is, of course, another thing. So yeah, Facebook decided that they just want to be the provider of the platform and not of news or content. So they started a cooperation with fact-checking organizations in 2016. And all those fact-checking organizations, which are part of the third-party program, which is how it's named, are also part of the independent international fact-checking network of the Poynter Institute. And the USA. I'm coming back to the IFCN later, but staying a bit on the cooperation with Facebook. For us, that means that they give us access to an internal list, which also helps us to find potential false claims that we could check. They don't tell us you need to check this or that content, but it helps to find stuff on Facebook. And then if you do a fact check on a topic that is on Facebook, it is displayed to those who want to share the disinformation content, and that's how it looks. Sorry for that, it's in German now, but like users get this kind of warnings, and the range of the posting decreases. The post is not deleted, but yeah, it's shown a warning, and then people can just decide, okay, I want to see the fact-checking article, or I don't care and still want to see the posting. To be clear, like that, what Meta did during the Corona pandemic, at one point they started to delete. They decided they want to delete some of the content concerning disinformation around vaccination, but this is not really connected to the fact-checking articles we do. This is like on another part where they decided to delete some of the content, and there were a lot of discussions about it. So we could come back to that later if you like. And then just shortly, I feel this is really special in the media world that a lot of organizations and editorial teams of this, which are on the same topics, are in a network and in long-term cooperation. So I think it's a really good thing concerning fact-checking work, because as I said before, we are part of the International Fact-Checking Network. Yeah, that means that every organization that wants to join that network needs to sign a code of principle, which is checked every year if we still stick to that. Right now it's more than 100 signatories. As you can have a look on the page website of IFCM if you want about that. And what happens is that we have a monthly meeting, exchange on different topics. We meet once a year at a conference, and what we also do is that we have a Slack workspace where we can discuss topics, and we have an email list. So this helps us to support each other in research that maybe goes beyond our national borders, because normally all the fact-checking organizations just check content that is spread in their local language. But of course, it can happen that in German, there's thread something about something happening in Italy. So if we get to our limits on researching on that, we just ask an Italian fact-checking organization to support us in the research. And to show that a lot of this information doesn't stop at borders, and a lot of stuff is like spreading international, which really was a lot during Corona pandemic, and also happens during the war in Ukraine. We sometimes start websites where or hashtags where you can find all fact-checking articles from all over the world concerning a special topic. For example, as you can see here, we started that concerning disinformation and fact-checking articles around the war in Ukraine, and right now there are close to 3,000 fact checks from all over the world on that website. And we are also part, and just come shortly to that, we are also part of the European Fact-Checking Standards Network, which is like something like a European version of the IFCN, but which is really to discuss about political regulations planned on the EU level, and trying to find also standards of independence, transparency, and journalistic quality in the European Union, and which has also another code of professional integrity, which is similar to the one of the IFCN.